And early Merry Christmas. I guess it's Christmas week. We can certainly start saying that now. I was out Saturday doing my Christmas count, and the weather was a bit challenging, as I'm sure it was for everybody. But it was nice to be out and nice to be searching for birds. And I was lucky enough I had a little lake area, and I had a friend who lives on the far side of the lake, and she kept her eyes out for me and managed to get my species list up by 3. So I was appreciative of that, including a bald eagle, which Dave may tell you about. So again, it's great to see everybody, and I will pass it over now to Dave to let us know how the count went.
Oops, you put it.
I'm muted.
Okay, now you are.
Hello?
Yeah,
Everybody?
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, first of all, I'd just like to thank everybody that I guess took part, because without everybody, I guess this wouldn't happen. So, yeah, the day was a little challenging for sure. It, started snowing there early morning and never stopped basically, and I guess fairly windy as well. Okay, so we got quite a bit to cover, so I'm hoping that there's somebody here from every group to read, but if not, I picked up everything at the Y Marsh, so if I guess if one group's not here, I can I guess read what they seen, so we should be able to I guess know exactly what was seen on Saturday. So the first group I'll start with I guess Jim Charlebois. Jim, could you read your list, please? Oh, we can't hear you, Jim.
You gotta unmute yourself there, Jim. Remember how you did that before?
Can you tell us which area you're doing too?
Yeah, you know what that is.
Sure. I guess Jim does one of the I guess northern areas for us. Let me see. The eastern boundary is I guess highway.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
You got me?
Yeah, I was just going to explain to them, but you can probably do it a little better, Jim. I guess what your area entails, your boundary areas.
Okay, I'm area 1, and if we start off at the Mountain View Mall, and you take Highway 93 all the way down to Penetanguishene Bay, and from the bay you go west, and we go around the Penetanguishene Bay, go all the way to the 16th concession. Then we go up to 16th concession all the way towards LaFontaine to County Road 6. Then we take County Road 6 all the way to Perkinsfield. And then we take Bomb Beach Road all the way back to Midland to Mountain View Mall. That's our area.
Yeah, it's a fairly big area, Jim, and I guess we appreciate that you do it every year. Would you be able to read for us what you've seen?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Okay, herring gull, 10. Pigeons, 92. Starlings, 77. Crows, 5. Hooded mergansers, 52. Chickadees, 36. Wolfinch, 35. Mallards, 54. Blue jay, 1. Canada geese, 57. Song sparrow, 1. Mourning dove, 39. Hairy woodpecker, 1. Raven, 1. Cardinal, 2. Red-breasted nuthatch, 2. White-breasted nuthatch, 3. Junco, 1. Red-breasted mergansers, 7. lesser scaup 30, black duck 2, common merganser 1. So we had 22 species for a total of 509 birds.
Wow, we can all just sign off now, Jim.
That's a great count,
That's
Jim. Thank
pretty
you for
impressive.
Yeah, well, we did well because Penetanguishene Bay was open, so
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's a bonus this time of year when it is for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to our next area. It's pretty much the area to the west of where Jim was, and I guess Dorothy and I guess Colin Harper did that. And I think I've seen Dorothy. Are you there?
Yeah, she's got us on mute.
I guess you have to unmute yourself.
Yes, we're here.
Oh, okay, would you be able to read your list, please?
Yes. We had a really sort of bizarre time. We couldn't go out for very long, so we were out as a total of 3 hours and got very, 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 very few birds through the snow until we got to Discovery Harbor and the bay was open and we had a large raft of ducks, which saved us. And we also got the 2 rare birds, or rare for this time of year, that were in Gary's backyard. He wasn't home that day, so we went twice to his yard, and I peeked around the corner and I waited 20 minutes each time and never got them. But luckily, Gary came home early and he got them from inside his house. So, excuse me. The 2 rare birds are, for this time of year, yellow-bellied sapsucker 1 and northern flicker 1. And then we had 18 black-capped chickadees, 1 white-breasted nuthatch, 3 rock doves, 2 blue jays, 2 hairy woodpeckers and 2 downy woodpeckers, 3 wild turkeys, 9 common mergansers, 21 hooded mergansers, 8 scaup species, couldn't get them, 11 bufflehead, 7 common goldeneye, 6 American goldfinch, and 20 duck species. And that was it. It was pretty good.
Dave, can I just interfere for a second here? I thought this would be a good time to introduce Gary to the group. I'm going to pin him here. And Gary, if you want to unmute, maybe you can tell people about the wonderful bird feeding site you have out there. Can you find your microphone? There you go. This is Gary Van Gelder, everybody.
I'm unmuted.
Yep.
I'm in the area right behind the mental hospital and the jail. So I have, besides my own 3 acres, I have all the woods in behind those institutions that I look out on. And so I have 3 bird feeder stations in between my house and the property line that backs onto the from the jail and the hospital. So I collect quite a few birds there. Fortunately, the back of my house, I have a fully glassed-in alcove, so I don't really have to sit outside to look at birds. And,
Now, you've never seen any jailbirds in your backyard, though, I hope, have you, Gary? Or?
Yes, well, not jailbirds, but there's been a few escapees from the hospital. And when that happens, I usually first notice the OPPs are on the street, and the next thing I know, there is a policeman with a sniffer dog running through the woods in behind. It happens maybe once every 5 years or so. I think last summer was another one of those occasions where they were looking for somebody. They're not dangerous people, don't worry. And the jail is secure. Nobody ever escapes from the jail. So So I have a camera handy in my alcove, and as I'm going around the house doing chores or reading at my table in the alcove, I keep my eyes open, and that's how I catch a lot of the birds that I take photos of. Probably my most prized one I took last Friday when I caught the flicker and the yellow-bellied sapsucker on my feeder at the same time. And I shared that photo with Dorothy, with Ken. I don't know if you can show it.
Yeah, I'm gonna show it a little later, Gary, but just to say,
Okay,
I've got it now. I'll show it to everybody a little later.
But let me just say, so my address is 42 O'Donnell Court, and anybody that wants to come to the house and just come on in, walk around the back of the house and look for birds. If I'm not home, doesn't bother me. It's kind of nice to have somebody around the house sometimes. So, but feel free to come and look for birds. There's usually a couple of chairs sitting around the fire pit. It's a little cold right now, of course, but in the summertime, you can make yourself at home. Bring a beverage and sit there for a couple of hours. Sit still, the birds will come. So,
Thanks for the
there you go.
invitation, Gary. And like, it is he's got a lot of nice birds there. I think last year you had the red-headed woodpecker too. But
yes, I do see that usually in the spring.
yeah,
It doesn't stick around at my place very often, but yeah, I do see it.
anyways,
I have one question for Gary.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to correct him. He says there was no escapees from the hospital, Oak Ridge and stuff. Well, there was actually one. I worked there for 47 years and retired in 2019, so I'm the escapee.
Oh, you're the escapee. Okay. But there's
we won't
nobody
turn you
really-
in, Jim. We won't turn you in.
Okay.
Dorothy has something to add.
Okay. I'm gonna mute
share what
myself again.
happened. I should share what happened when we were standing around the corner from Gary's feeders, and I was watching. I went there twice, spent 20 minutes or more out of the time, but didn't see those two birds. However, while I was standing there stock still, there were some wild turkeys in front of me, and suddenly a fox rushed into the backyard after the wild turkeys. He didn't get one, but it was really wonderful to be able to stand there. I was about 5 feet from the fox, but I was standing very still, so he didn't notice me. And he ran right in front of me, and it was just delightful. So you have a wonderful yard, Gary.
That fox that you saw, I see that fox almost every day. I have watched him catch squirrels as I'm looking out my windows in the alcove. Very, very good hunter. I've never seen fox catch any turkeys. Okay.
Well, he didn't catch
but,
me either on Saturday.
No. They try, but they usually don't. The squirrels they can catch. There's actually 2 foxes that come to my property. One is a little bit than the other, and the tails are slightly different colors, so I can tell them apart. I sent you a picture, Dorothy, of one of the foxes that I took in November.
Yes.
It was standing there just looking. So I grabbed my camera and I got it. I have lots of other fox pictures. Sometimes in the middle of the winter when the snow is very deep, I feed them some scraps of leftover meat. They'll come to it and I can photograph it, but that's kind of artificial. The one that I sent you was totally natural. He was not being fed that time. So
Beautiful,
foxes are not.
Beautiful, healthy fox.
Yes, he's very healthy. He or she, I'm not sure. Okay.
Okay, let's turn it back over to Dave and count some more birds.
Okay.
Okay, the next area is, I guess yours, Ken, if you wouldn't mind giving your list, please.
Okay, and I'm going to try to share my screen and do some little photographs as we go. See if this will work for me. Trying to, here we go, that's the right button. Everybody can hear me?
Yes. Up.
Everybody can see my, my screen here?
Yep.
How does that look?
Awesome.
Got the ducks on there? Okay, so here's our list of things. We were lucky we got an early start, Susan and I. We got out at 8 a.m. and we had about 90 minutes before the snow started to sock in, because once the snow did come in, it got pretty birdless. Let me just hide this here.
What was your area, Ken?
My area was area 2B, and we were sort of Bay Street, Midland Bay, went out Midland Point Road to the mouth of Penetang Bay, and then along Brunel side road to Highway 93. But we were a little pressed for time, Susan and I. We had to get off for an event we had in Huntsville, so we worked till about noon. And I think we covered a lot of the territory, and we got 24 species, 376 individuals. Canada geese, 28, mallard, 34, white-winged scoter, 1. He was way across the other side of the bay, but obviously a white-winged scoter. But I think one of the highlights for us was the flock of long-tailed ducks that's been hanging around Midland Harbor. There are sometimes, and these are the long-tailed ducks here. Some of the males you see there are getting close to breeding plumage. We counted 24 of them. They're beautiful little winter ducks. I went down to the harbor this morning, and the harbor was starting to ice over. There was only one long-tailed duck there, so the flock seems to have gone or dispersed. Don't know if they'll be back. There's a close-up of a female long-tailed duck. There they are swimming in the harbor. Common goldeneye, we had 50. Lots of common mergansers, we counted 37. Pigeons, 51. Mourning doves, 11. Herring gulls, 16. And there's another common merganser. We did get one common loon. I have to confess, most of these photos I didn't take on Saturday. I tend to go and kind of pre-scout my area 2 or 3 days in advance. So these are all the same birds we saw on Saturday, but they're taken in a little better light and less snowy conditions.
Weather.
Yep. And red-tailed hawk, 1. Red-bellied woodpecker, 1. This is the red-bellied here. Downy woodpecker, 5. There's a downy woodpecker. Hairy woodpecker, 2. American crow, 5. Common raven, 1. Black-capped chickadee, 12. We saw lots of white-breasted nuthatches. We counted 9. And there's one particular spot down by Gauley Park where we find what's obviously their stash hole. There was about 4 or 5 nuthatches going in and out of this hole, and it's obviously a place that they've been stashing food. There's one coming out of the hole there. And in that same area we had a brown creeper, 1. European starling, 7. House sparrow, 40. American goldfinch, 35. Dark-eyed junco, 2. Northern cardinal, this is the little guy here. We had a pair, a male and a female, and looks like he's got a caterpillar in his beak. And we didn't see any pileated woodpeckers, but I did see them 2 or 3 days before, and they're so neat. I thought I'd throw a few pictures of them in. But we didn't get any on the day. I'm sure other people got them elsewhere. And this is Gary's picture of the northern flicker and the yellow-bellied sapsucker. On the same feeder in his backyard, which is quite a spectacular picture. And again, this was the first year in the whole time we've been doing the count that we've ever had a northern flicker on the Christmas bird count. It's the 3rd time we've had a yellow-bellied sapsucker, that they're not very often counted as well. And these were some of my photos I got when I visited his yard. There's the sapsucker, the flicker, and the flicker. And I think that's it. So now I just have to figure out how to stop sharing.
That's great. Yes.
Okay, back to you, Dave. Let me just find you and I'll pin you again.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Ken. That was great. The next group I'm calling 3A. I'm not sure if anybody's online. It's, I guess, Heather Gray Toner and Mary Skinner, and I think it's Peter Howe. Is that
Peter Hoff, I think.
Hoff? Okay.
Hoff.
Okay, I don't think anyone's here, so I have the results. Now, their area would have been from King Street to Midland Bay, and then from Bay Street to Highway 12. So they had that section. Okay, so I guess Hairy Woodpecker, they had 1. I guess Rock Pigeons, 88. It says Cardinals, 4. White-breasted Nuthatch, 4. Downy Woodpecker, 5. Chickadees, 30. House Finch, 3. Common Goldeneye, 29. Pileated Woodpecker, 1. Then common, I guess Merganser, 32. Starlings, 56. And dark eye juncos, 8. Goldfinches, 30. And then buffleheads, 6. Longtail, 1. Okay, mallards, 39. Okay, herring gulls, 2. And crows, 3. Then they had trumpeter swan, 1. Lesser scaup, 1. Hooded merganser, 15. Blue jays, 5. Red-bellied woodpecker, 1. The Canada goose, 14. Mourning dove, 18. Sharp-shinned hawk, 1. I didn't total theirs yet, but they had approximately 22 species from, I think. So yeah, that was a pretty good count for them too. That was great. Okay, 3B is the area around, I guess, Port McNichol, and I think Anthony Taliani is here, and I'll have you give your report, Anthony, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
I sure can. Yep.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Ken, just to say, it's nice to see the photos of the birds you've taken that you actually saw. Always love looking at your photographs. So I was out with Karen Chaplin, and like Ken, we started out at 8 o'clock in the morning. We went till about 12. And we had a total of 154 birds, 20 identified species and 3 unidentified species. So I'll start out. The first birds we heard, I heard 2 ravens. We had 8 mallards. We saw 2 black ducks with some of the mallards. We had 22 Canada geese, 24 common mergansers. We saw 2 trumpeter swans. There were 2 downy woodpeckers. We had 3 unidentified gulls. Chickadees, we saw 34. White-breasted nuthatch, we had 2. And in your list, Dave, we have scops. I thought they were lesser, but in conferring with Mr. Bob Codd, we came to the conclusion they were probably greater scop.
Okay.
10 of those. Common golden eyes, we saw 32. Ring-billed gull, there were 2. 6 crows. 1 unidentified woodpecker. 5 juncos. 4 cardinals. 4 blue jays. 2 mourning doves. My feeder, we saw 1 tree sparrow. Or did anyway. I saw 4 house finches. Also at my feeder, I saw 1 white-throated sparrow. And we saw an unidentified raptor, which we suspect might have been the butt end of a snowy owl flying away from us. Oh, that's ours.
Okay, thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Now, the area that I call 3C was the area around, I guess, Victoria Harbor, and it was Susan and Robert Codd and Mary Rajapatsky. And I imagine Robert's got his report, please.
I got it here, yeah. We didn't get out as early as the rest of it. I'm not a morning person, anybody who knows us will confirm. So we got out around 10 with Mary, and we hit all the waterfront. And actually, we didn't do well in Victoria Harbor, and we didn't do very well in Victoria Harbor again this year. We were saved by having some open water, but ironically, the snow kept us from seeing very far out into the water. So we were out there 6 hours, and we also did over 3 kilometers on foot along one of the trails. I guess I can just start. American Crow, we had 7 of those. Common mergansers, 31. The chickadees, 16 of them. 2 herring gulls, 29 common goldeneyes, mourning doves, 17. A big thrill for Deep Thea was the pileated woodpecker that Sue spotted. I think the big winner was geese, though we had 227 Canada geese, a couple of nice cardinals, a pair. Goldfinches were abundant, at least in one feeder. There was 25 of them, and we had 1 single bufflehead. But I think really the highlight was 36 trumpeter swans out in Sturgeon Bay.
Wow.
And that's
Okay.
it.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Robert. The next area 4, was Kathy and Brian Bissell. I don't believe they're with us, so I will I just read their results. Then their area was Highway 12 down to the Vasey Road and Old Fort Road over to about, I guess, Rosemount Road. So, okay. They were unfortunate. They didn't see a whole lot, but I'll read what they seen. American Crow 4, Blue Jay 5, Black-capped Chickadee 25, Mourning Doves 26, and White-breasted Nuthatch 1, and that was it. So, moving on. The next area 5A is one of our southern ones. So it goes from Highway 27 south a bit, and then from Moore Lake Road over to, I guess, County Road 6. It was done by, I guess, Judy McConnell and some friends of hers. And she called me too. She was, apologetic at, I guess, not seeing too much. But it's it's the way it is. Okay, so I guess Black-capped Chickadee 5, Blue Jay 4. Crows 6, and I guess Kate Harries, who does the area right beside her, reported that she's seen in Judy's area 25 snow buntings. So I've added that to I guess Judy's area as well, and that's it. So now our other southern area around the Elmville area is I guess Kate Harries, and I think Kate's here to give her report, please.
Yeah, hi, I'm here. I kind of wish I'd reported on my feeder for the day to be added to 5A, but I didn't keep a record there because it was busy. But my area, which is east of Orr Lake, out south of the Vasey Road and over to Line 6, it includes Scarlet Line, goes down to Moonstone Road and includes one side of 93 going past Orr Lake, but I didn't get a chance to count Orr Lake, which was really disappointing. And there's no open water in this area, and there were 4 feeders with birdseed in them. Last year I did it, and I did quite well. But that was partly because I ran into homeowners who had feeders, and I talked to them and I said, let me know what you see, and they did. because of the snow, there was nobody outside, so no conversations, and only one conversation. And anyhow, so I was disappointed. I did this with my husband. We set off at 8 and we did a split shift because it got so snowy. But then when we went out again in the afternoon, it was still snowing. So my total was 107 birds, 8 species, 5 blue jays, 11 mourning doves, 1 American crow, 60 rock doves, 2 starlings, 8 goldfinches, 19 chickadees, and a grouse, which I thought might be a spruce grouse.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Area 6 is done for us pretty much every year by, I guess, Tim Tully. It's the area around, I guess, Tiny Marsh, and he had with him Scott Martin and, I guess, Mike Lavin. I guess Tim's not here, but I have his report, so I will read it for you. Okay, the trumpeter swan 1, American goldfinch 24, black-capped chickadee 50, starlings 299, white-breasted nuthatch 5, blue jay 8, mourning dove 26, American crow 5, dark-eyed junco 4, downy woodpecker 1, hairy woodpecker 1, red-bellied woodpecker 2, snow buntings 69, rock pigeons 221, house sparrow 24, the brown creeper 1, snowy owl 1, rough-legged hawk 2, mallards 2, ring-necked pheasant 4, the horned grebe 6, the golden-eye 1, the herring gull 2, ring-billed gull 2, and the common redpoll 27 for 25 species and 788 individuals. So, pretty hard to follow that. The next area is 7A. That is Paul and I guess Maureen Bell. It's goes from County Road 6, I guess, down to the water, and it's from concession about 8 up to about 14 or so. And I think I've seen Paul there. If he would like to give a report, please.
Yep, we started off down towards Bomb Beach, and it was snowing pretty hard, so we weren't seeing too much. I talked to a couple of fishermen there, and they said that I had just missed 3 bluebills, 8 buffleheads, an eagle, and a few red-headed ducks, but we didn't see them. So I wrote them up the side of because they were in Bomb Beach, wrote them up the side of the sheet, but didn't count them. And if I had counted my own feeders that day, probably would have got a lot more too. Our feeders were quite busy. And as you know, we live in Copeland Creek, so there's lots of forest here, and we adjoin quite a bit of county forest and of course the creek habitat. So there's lots of birds we see every day, but none of them on this that I used on this list. So our list was a total of 16 species, which I think is down 1. I believe we had 17 last year. We missed snow buntings this year, which was a little disappointing. I was looking for them all day. Perfect snow bunting weather with all the snow that was flying around, but nary a one. Looked on virtually every telephone pole along the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th, and the County Road 6. On the tops, looking for snowy owls, didn't see any. So what we saw was 14 chickadees, 4 juncos, 6 goldfinch, 11 mourning doves, 1 barred owl, 3 pileated woodpeckers, 4 downy woodpeckers, 1 red-bellied woodpecker, 7 ring-billed gulls, 3 crows, 2 white-breasted nuthatches, 2 house sparrows, 1 cardinal, 2 ravens, and 2 red-headed ducks.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. That's great. 7B is the area just south of what Paul was doing there. It was Adrian Perry and Don Downer. So basically they're from Bomb Beach Road, I guess, down to about the 6th concession, and from County Road 6 to the water. And I think Don's got his report, please.
Yep, I'm here.
Adrian, thank you.
We're both here, but yeah, so we had also, you know, it wasn't the greatest day, and we didn't have very long because I had a meeting in the afternoon, so we were only out for about 2.5 hours. We got 16 species, 167 total individuals, some gulls, 5 ring-billed gulls, 1 herring gull, 2, we think, black-backed gull juveniles or immatures, 1 red-breasted merganser, and 3 common mergansers, 2 goldfinches, 4 chickadees, 9 mourning doves, 4 crows and 1 raven, 80 Canada geese, 8 starlings, 4 blue jays, 38 rock pigeons, and our favorite little time was at Wimblewood Beach, at Wimblewood Lodge. There's kind of an old motel there, and there was some trees that were, you could see the bark was all had been poked at, and we saw 3 pileated woodpeckers and 2 hairy woodpeckers all at once, all together in that area, and they stayed for a long time. We walked in amongst them, they didn't bother with us or anything, so that was kind of our highlight.
Okay, thank you, Adrian. Next area, Area 8. It was done by Donna Lister and Graham Swan and their friend and Paula Shepard. I don't see any of them on the screen here tonight, so I guess they're not here. So I'll just read the results. So their area is okay, Highway 93 over to, I guess, County Road 6, and at the bottom of I guess Jim's area. So that's Bomb Beach Road down to I guess Highway 27. So it's a fairly big area, but it's all interior. There's I guess there's no water there. So I'll read theirs. Okay, again, Blue Jay 27, Cardinal 4, Chickadee 45, Crow 18, Eastern Bluebird 2, European Starling 11, Goldfinch 10, House Sparrow 12, Junco 12, Mourning Dove 13, Red-breasted Nuthatch 2, White-breasted 1, Red-tailed Hawk 1, I guess Rock Pigeon 24, Wild Turkey 29, Downy Woodpecker 4, Hairy Woodpecker 1, and that's it. So they had approximately 20 species and 216 individuals. Okay, moving on. The next area, 9-8, it's the area inside the Y Marsh. So it was done by Joanna Rumney and Dolores Scott, I believe, are the 2 employees that did it. So I will read their findings here. I guess Canada Goose 22, Trumpeter Swan 79, American Black Duck 21, Mallard 6, Ringneck Duck 17, Lesser Scaup 12, Bufflehead 11, Common Goldeneye 2, Cooper's Hawk 1, Bald Eagle 2, American Black Duck 1, Ring-billed Gull 1, Herring Gull 3, Rock Pigeon 5, Mourning Dove 27, Red-bellied Woodpecker 1, Downy Woodpecker 1, Hairy Woodpecker 4, Blue Jay 4, Raven 1, Black-capped Chickadee 40, Red-breasted Nuthatch 2, White-breasted Nuthatch 4, Northern Cardinal 1, Okay. American tree sparrow 2, dark-eyed junco 18, American goldfinch 14, and it says total individuals 301, total species 26. So, and then they also wrote that they seen 2 red squirrels, 2 gray squirrels, and 3 black squirrels. I guess they wanted us to know that, so that's great.
I wish we could count.
Yeah. So that's that. And then the rest of that area, the area around Marsh, is always done for us by Dan and again Judy Whittam. So I will let them give the report, please. Oh, somebody's got on mute. Got on mute, Dan. Or Judy, please.
Okay, we have 30 chickadees, 3 blue jays, 7 goldfinches, 3 crows, 2 white-breasted nuthatches, 1 hairy woodpecker, 1 ruffed grouse, 17 mallards, 1 trumpeter swan, 4 mourning doves, 1 tree sparrow, 6 juncos, 6 cardinals, 2 red-bellied woodpeckers, 1 pileated woodpecker, and 1 downy woodpecker. And we got a few days before that, which is still on the count, we had 9 wild turkeys for a total of 16 species, 17 species, 95 individuals.
Okay, and on the back of their sheet, I guess Judy wrote what she's seen at her feeder, so I'll just read it, and whoever's in that area, when I figure it out, I'll, I guess, add it to it. Black-capped chickadees 5, I guess cardinals 3, white-breasted nuthatch 1, downy woodpecker 1, mourning dove 3, juncos 10, goldfinch 3, and starling 5. So thank you very much, everybody.
Another person's count in that area.
Yeah. 9C was, I guess, Susan Hurst. She did a lot of the, I guess, interior for Midland. So she was County Road 3 over to King Street and Young Street to Highway 12 sort of area, taking in, like Smith's Camp and I guess Little Lake and that sort of thing. So Susan, I'll let you give your report, please.
I think you just did.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm the last one to give it, but it's not gonna, nice if it was with a bang. But anyway, I had 8 species, and American crow 5, black and white chickadees 18, white-breasted nuthatch 3. I had 1 gull species, 6 blue jays, 16 mourning doves, and the bald eagle that I mentioned at the beginning. And then I was saved by Canada geese. There were 104 of them in and around Little Lake. So total of 154 birds. And again, I thank my friend for helping bring the count up a little bit and getting me a bald eagle.
Okay, thank you. Well, you weren't last, we're last.
Oh,
So,
okay. Right.
So I guess Liz and I do the area from, it starts off on, I guess, Subway Road and then goes, I guess, Elliott Side Road, over to Vasey Road, or over to, I guess, Old Fort Road, and then Vasey Road, and then back Highway 93. So it's, what do you call all the other roads? Well, like there's Ron Jones Road, and there's, I guess, Wood Road, there's French's Road, all that kind of stuff in there. So this is our account. We had 14 species and 349 individuals. So pileated woodpecker 1, black-capped chickadee 85, mourning doves 30, American crows 7, goldfinch 42, blue jay 20, juncos 5, hairy woodpecker 7, downy woodpecker 5, rock doves 97. They always sit on I guess the silos that are in our area there. They always seem to be right on top of barns or silos. Starlings 45, red-bellied woodpecker 1, white-breasted nuthatch 3, and red-breasted nuthatch 1. We stop every year at what's his name? Don Foxall's place, which is at the end of I guess Ron Jones Road. He has an amazing amount there of I guess feeders, and I guess we talk to him usually every year, but he wasn't home this year. But it's I guess it's a great place too to see birds. So that's our count. So I'd like to thank everybody for taking part. I'll have this summary done, I guess, within a few days, so you know, so everybody can see the whole thing put together. And just so everybody knows, I guess next year's count will be Saturday, December the 17th. If you feel like you have to mark it now on your calendar, that would be great. And unless anybody has any questions, I guess that's it for this year. And like I say, I'll do the wrap up, and I guess probably send it to Ken so we can send it to everybody. And I guess thanks for taking part.
David, I'm just going to ask everybody, if you know how, everybody unmute. Just unmute for a second. To figure out how to unmute. Some of you are doing it. And let's have a thunderous round of applause for Dave for organizing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Good job.
Sorry I couldn't be there this year, guys.
Yeah, I understand, Ruth.
Yeah, my son was married on the
Yeah.
same day, so
What
we
the
had an
heck?
outside wedding.
What the heck are you thinking?
Excuses.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Planned that better.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that, I have to go. Thanks very much for Dave, and to Liz too for backing you up, I'm sure. And just to let you know, Dorothy McEwen was our judge, and she has declared Dorothy and Colin Harper to be the winners of the Christmas background contest.
Great.
Congratulations, Dorothy and Colin. And she has declared Bob and Susan Codd to be the winners of the Christmas costume contest.
Nice.
Congratulations to Bob
A
and
lot
Susan.
of competition, eh, guys?
Please dress this way.
We moved to near the tree.
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kate Harries, and I think she's got a little presentation planned. Let me just find, there she is. Where'd she go?
I'm here.
Yep.
How do we do this? I have a slideshow ready to go.
All right, I have to just allow people to, just a second, to allow them to share their screens. Now you should be able to share your screen. And I'll mute everybody again, Kate, so
there's some others tonight who probably remember that. We had a lot of fun and learned a lot. We didn't actually delineate what was going on with the Phrag, but we saw that it was a problem and something to look into for the future. So fast forward to, okay, how do I fast forward? January. No, I think it was February. So I had been president of MTM. I'm not anymore. MTM is the organization that is responsible for Tiny Marsh, as well as Matchedash Bay and Marl Lake. And we got the invasive Phragmites Control Center people in, and they are really the only experts with any real credibility in the province in terms of tackling Phragmites. A lot of municipalities use them, Parks Canada uses them. So they came up with this truck, which was very exciting to see. A bunch of us went out on the ice. It was incredibly cold. And this is where we got back. And we just had a look at the Phrag by walking out on the ice, and agreed that things would be done. And then I had meetings with various people and applied for funding. And I applied for a fairly big grant from Environment Canada, climate change, and also from Tiny Township and Ducks Unlimited. So Tiny Township came up with some funds right away. And so we decided to get somebody into the field to start mapping the Phrag. And we were so lucky to get Dave Hawke, who has, I don't know, 40 years of experience in conservation, started his career at Tiny Marsh. And anyhow, he was out there in June, July, in his canoe, mapping the Phrag, figuring out what was native, what was not native. This is a map of 600 acres of marshland. The area we did this year was, that Dave did, was the West Cell. There's the Northeast Cell, which has Phragmites in there. And then the East Cell, which doesn't seem to. So he's going to explore those in 2022. The map here shows where the Phragmites is. They look like tiny little blotches, but they are huge areas. Obviously, the dike has become a major area where there's Phragmites. They found about 40% of the Phrag is non-native and 60% is native. So this gives us a bit of a conundrum, because it's hard to sort out what to take out and what not to take out. We kind of made a decision. We take it out because the invasive Phragmites is so destructive. But if we can save areas of non-native, we will do so. Here's Dave. This was over at Matchedash, and we did a walk in June to look at the invasive situation there and identify it. And Dave's showing the difference between native and non-native. By August, we had some more money, a little bit more. Still hadn't heard from the major grant, and that I had got the application in on March the 3rd, and it was kind of annoying not to hear anything. They said, oh, we haven't made a decision yet, you just have to wait. Anyhow, we had enough money to get some volunteers into the field. Dave did a fabulous job. He has so much experience working with volunteers, and there were concerns here for health and safety. It was an incredibly hot August, and we had to be sure that we didn't put anybody in danger from sunstroke or overexposure to heat. But people really had a fun time, and Dave would call out every now and then that everybody was absolutely ordered to take a break and take a drink and stop working for a little while, and then we went back to it. And here's Dave at the north end of the Trotter Dyke. So we did a little bit of the Trotter Dyke. It's very hard work. We did not do a large area. We did a little bit of Carolina Dyke, but cutting Phragmites by hand, we used raspberry cane cutters. That is tough. Anyhow, here are some pretty tough people who did it, and you can see piles of Phragmites there on the ground. And where you have piles on the ground, you need a cleanup crew. Unfortunately, we had young Tyler, Reed. His name is Reed Tucker. He's the son of one of the board members at Tiny Marsh, and he just got right into the job of piling it up, and it got some of it got hauled out off the dike. Here we were at work in Matchedash again. On the left is Nicole Carpenter. On the right is Katie Austin, former councillor in Springwater, and that's me in the middle looking as if I'm about to take Nicole's head off. Well, she was really being very pompous and showing off. No, I'm only joking. I have no idea what I was thinking, but anyhow, made for an amusing picture. And we had a good day there at Matchedash. We did some hand cutting with the raspberry cane cutters and got a whole area cleaned up. But it's, as I said, it's slow, hard work. So it was so encouraging when we finally got some money. Eco Action told us in mid-September, yeah, we've approved your grant. So late though it was, the IPCC were able to fit us in. This is the end of October. It felt like the cavalry were coming in. And this is, that's Dave Hawke in the yellow and going out on a truxel with Jan Gilbert, who's the executive director and moving force behind the IPCC, and then 2 truxes here going out into the marsh. That was definitely a very exciting moment. And so this is how the truxes work. They go in and they, there are 2 heads that go on the truxes. One is spiked, and that's for lifting the Phrag and moving it around, as you can see is happening here. And the other is a cutting edge, and the Phragmites gets cut off under the water. And if it's a few inches below the water level, it drowns. It needs the oxygen coming in through the stalks to survive. The stalks are hollow, and if the Phrag is cut off underwater, it gets killed. So that's what's happening here. And you can see they were going back and forth, one of them with the cutout, one of them with the sort of fork thing to move the Phrag around. And what we did with this Phrag that they cut out is we left it in big piles around the marsh, and it becomes habitat for muskrat and birds. There are situations where nests get laid in there. We have another 2 years of IPCC coming back, and we will keep an eye to make sure there's no sprouting, but apparently this is not a major problem. And these sort of islands of cut off Phrag gradually decompose, and it certainly saves a lot of trouble having to cut these fairly large amounts of biomass away and take them to a landfill site. This is a sign that I hope to have put up in the next little while, explaining to the public what's going on, and it shows our sponsors. So MTM is putting some money into this. Ducks Unlimited has. The major sponsor is the Government of Canada. Tiny Marsh has helped us. IPCC has given us quite a lot of in-kind help. And Green Shovels Collaborative is a new organization that is also providing support. And you'll see at the bottom of this sign, if you want to help, email. You can email Dave at volunteer, VOL at mtmconservation.org. I really encourage everybody to come out next year and help us. It's fun, and you're doing something that's really important. Thanks very much.
Can you stop sharing, or maybe I can do that for you? Let me see.
I have to try and find out where my different screen.
I think maybe if I go to security, let's see.
Oh, I've done it.
Oh, no, I'm not sure if you did it or I did it, but that's okay. Thanks very much, Kate. Now, I'm not sure if anybody has any questions for you, but I maybe start off with one question. I know this year you felt you were kind of late starting due to just getting the funding and COVID and whatever. What are the plans for when you would start, or kind of the schedule for next summer that you see now?
We haven't quite figured that out yet, but really the active months, you have to let the Phrag grow before you attack it. So the active months will be July, probably July and August. We will have volunteers cutting sort of probably mid-July to through August. And then we will get the truxels back. And this year we'll be getting a herbicide crew in as well. And there's a new herbicide that has been approved that is acceptable to use by water, which is something we haven't been able, because the only herbicides that have been available basically have been versions of Roundup. You can't use that near amphibians, but there's been a newly approved herbicide that we will be using in a very targeted and careful way to take out the Phrag in areas where it's spraying up through the water. So that's all going to happen in this this coming year, and we will be putting information up on the MTM website. So.
And I'm sure we'll get information from you that I can send out to the club when the time comes. I think Bob Codd had his hand raised. Bob, are you there?
I'm here. It's not so much of a question, but I wonder if Kate would speak about the Georgian Bay Forever did DNA studies on the two different species, the invasive and the native. And there was a thought that they might hybridize, but I understand that the results of the DNA testing shows that there is no hybridization going on, which is whether that's good news or not, I'm not sure.
I think that is good news, and that is what we're learning at the moment. There's no hybridization up here at all. There is some question as to whether further south on the continent there's hybridization, but we definitely haven't seen it in Canada. There's what is interesting is that Dave used the signs that the field marks that were advised by Lynn Short of Humber College, who many of you know. She's worked extensively in Tiny Township to determine whether a stand was native or non-native. And so we all went out to Matchedash one day, a few of us volunteers and some volunteers from Georgian Bay Forever. We were going to take out a stand, and Dave went ahead of us the day before and said, no, don't take that out, it's native. And so the Georgian Bay Forever people had DNA tests done on that, and I think Dave was probably a little bit nervous about what the result would be, but he was vindicated. He had correctly, what's that noise? He had correctly identified the native stuff. So I think we will do a little bit more DNA analysis actually in Tiny Marsh as well, because there's no point spending money to take out stuff that isn't a danger. So we will try and identify the important areas of native Phrag, isolate those, and confirm our guess with some DNA. The cost of the DNA analysis has come down quite a lot since I first got involved in this, so it's actually quite reasonable to get done.
The way they do this in Parliament now, I have to ask Bob if any follow-up question, Bob.
No, I think what Kate covered, I find that aspect of it actually fascinating. The fact that there's two separate species and you know, we had great concerns over them hybridizing, which would make the task infinitely more difficult in deciding what to cut and what not to. So it's a valuable tool, as Kate said, to target your efforts where it's most needed.
Okay, so does anybody else have any questions for Kate, or we might move on to the rest of our Christmas celebration? Thanks very much, Kate, for all the work you've been doing. And at our last meeting, we attempted to show a song by Reed and Margaret Wilson. And I don't know whether the technology failed us or our brains failed us, one or the other.
It was most likely me.
But where are you? I'm just trying to find you here, Reed, so I can pin you.
Beside you.
There you are.
We're here.
Okay, I'm going to try to play your song, Reed and Margaret, but do you want to say anything about it first?
Well, sure. Thank you for thinking about us, Bob. We appreciate it, Ken. Bob, Ken, we both have 3 letters. Yeah, I wrote this song. Actually, I started writing it last November while I was sitting in our hot tub at home in Tiny, and it was a cold evening, and I started thinking about how much I was going to be missing our cottage up in Point of Barrel. And so I started to get the thoughts together to write this song. And it turned out that Noni Thompson was involved with J. Alden French and the Brookside Music Association. They had a project to encourage people to write songs about Georgian Bay. So we kind of dovetailed in with that. And so this was the result of it. We recorded the song at Eugene's studio before they moved to Nova Scotia. And then I put the video together after that using some of our own slides. So it's a song and a slide presentation, and hopefully, Ken, you'll be able to get it to work right.
Yeah, hopefully so. And I think it's a nice song because it's kind of looking back at the end of summer to summer on Georgian Bay. So it's appropriate for this time of year. So let's see if I can find it.
All right,
Hang on.
thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, can everybody see that?
Yeah, it looks good.
See the trees, and here comes the song. Everybody settle back, relax.
It's a cold, cold day. Clouds have turned to gray. I'm sitting here beside the fire, thinking of the days we passed the time so lazily, just gazing through the trees, soaking up the sunshine, basking in the breeze. And I long for those summer days, floating there out on the bay, sparkling water dancing all around our old canoe, dreaming of warm, peaceful nights, moons calling and starlight, you and me together as we paddle our way home. Do you remember all the music, all the songs, jamming with our friends the whole night long, and sunrises as night turned into day, two hearts beating in the heart of Georgian Bay. It's a cold, cold night. Stars are shining bright. Orion rising in the east. The moon casts off moonlight. And the nights are getting longer. The winds are blowing strong. Days are getting shorter now as winter comes along. And I long for those summer days, floating there on Georgian Bay, sparkling water dancing all around our old canoe, dreaming of warm, peaceful nights, moons calling and starlight shining on the water all around our island home. Just you and me together as we paddle our way home. Two hearts beating in the heart of Georgian Bay. My heart beats in the heart of Georgian Bay.
Thanks very much, Rita Margaret. You're muted again, by the way. You're muted.
There we go.
Way to
Thank you.
go.
Excellent.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks very much. Yeah, the
Oops,
something
sorry.
happened. Something happened with the synchronization.
Every old man.
Oh, there's something else. That wasn't me.
No, that wasn't you. I keep forgetting to stop
Anyway,
the video.
Yeah, something happened with the synchronization, the vocal to the video synchronization. But other than that, I think you heard it. It was as the way it was. So thanks very much for listening in. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm just trying. Okay, well, yeah, it sounded great on my screen. Hopefully it sounded not too bad to everybody else. Yeah, the sync wasn't bad, but maybe there was a problem with sync. I don't know. So I
Those
kind of.
pictures were, sorry, those pictures were much needed on the winter solstice that were facing today. It was really
Absolutely.
nice. Really nice to see those summer shots.
Good.
Yeah, thanks, Susan. Mostly they were taken right around our island, and they were certainly family pictures that were there.
So we're getting close to the end of the night, but I had invited other people if they had things to share them. Anybody got anything, or Bob, did you have something, or Bob Cause still there?
Yeah. I can see them. They're muted.
I'm muted. Yes, fell for that one. Yeah, I threw something together kind of at the last minute.
Okay, I'll pin you and you can tell us about it.
Beg your pardon?
I just pinned you so they can see you, and you can tell us about what you're going to show it. Then you have to share your screen. Now I have to allow you to share your screen.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and try sharing your screen now.
Well, let me get up my presentation first. I'm not going to fall into that trap. Okay. Participants can host. Don't miss me. How am I doing?
Yeah, we got a Pine Grove speak there.
Okay, so I kind of started out with some of my favorite photos starting back in January, I guess this was. And these guys were around in quite large numbers, and they certainly brightened up a dreary COVID winter. This was another highlight of my winter. Snowy owl down in tiny, a great gray owl down in Tiny Marsh. That was a first in Simcoe County for me. I just like this picture, Northern Shoveler. Who doesn't like that honker?
The Jimmy Durante of the bird world.
Like, yeah. That was actually in Matchedash, another one of MTM's properties. And this, I think I found this courtesy of Ken. He took us out to one of his favorite birding spots on Sempreska Road. This is a winter red. This is in our backyard. Somehow they manage to show up in our yard every spring. They don't stick around, but I like to think we're helping them on their way. They're one of my favorite little sparrows, eastern towhee. Two different kinds of teals. This is again in Matchedash Bay, Lawson Line. Another Matchedash denizen, golden winged warbler. Beautiful little bird. Looks like a chickadee with a yellow cap. And I couldn't resist this one, an osprey with a fish. This was in Hog Bay, I believe. And I don't really recall where I took that. I think this was down in the St. Marie Park along the Wye River, but I could be mistaken. No, that was in our neighborhood. That was in the woods behind our house.
That's Scarlet Tanager, right, Bob?
Scarlet Tanager, and I think everybody recognizes this guy, bald eagle. That's in Hog Bay. That's also not very far from our house. This is in Carden. I think these are just gorgeous little wildflowers. What is that? Prairie smoke?
Prairie smoke.
Just a
Yep.
beautiful. This is a close up, but there's fields of this stuff when it's in bloom, and it's just spectacular. And I've never seen it anywhere else other than in Carden. It's a gorgeous little plant. Also in Carden, a loggerhead shrike. Reed might appreciate this. We do get them up here. This is a first for Ontario for me, but we used to see them. I wouldn't call them abundant, but we used to know where to find them when we'd go to the Carolinas in the winter.
Yeah, they're certainly common down here, Bob.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this is a heron rookery. I wish Heather was online because there's a story of how she actually forced us to find this. We were watching herons flying around and carrying sticks, and Heather wanted to go down this wretched ATV trail that was swampy and wet to look for this heronry. And I was kind of reluctant. I said, yeah, what are the chances? But we went for it anyway, and we didn't go much more than 100 meters down the trail when we had a view of this spectacularly large heronry. And I know Ken has a story to tell about this heronry, and I think you might be going to say a few words about it, so I won't spoil your fun, Ken.
I might, yeah.
But that just gives you an idea of I mean, this isn't even all of it. I couldn't fit all the nests in, so that's I find it impressive.
Yeah, I think we counted at one time we counted about 55 nests with birds on them.
Something like that. Sue counted them one day.
There were 67.
Sue says 67 she counted in there.
Could be, yeah, it could be.
Anyway, there's plenty. More than I've ever seen before anywhere else. Nice close-up of a Virginia rail. This was in Port Severn. That's not very far from where we saw that heronry. This is kind of a disappointing story behind this, because this turns out to have been an introduced species, and we were hoping that it was just the pink color variation of the common fragrant water lily that we normally see. The backstory was that the nearby people property owners had decided they were going to raise this to sell in the pond trade, and it's now throughout, but it's still beautiful. It's worth a look. That was help me out here, Ken. Off Rosemount Road.
The Rosemount wetland. We did a club outing there.
Yes. Probably most of you have seen this photo or something like it.
Yeah,
This is very exciting.
I actually took a species of the stem and all that for Bob Bowles a couple years ago from Rosemount. He wanted to know, and you can tell by the stem and all that, the little barb's not on it. But anyway, yeah, that's where I got pictures of the same species.
They're gorgeous anyway, even if they are introduced. This is one of the rarer warblers that you're going to find in our area. That was up in Owenda. I love these birds. They're beautiful. It's denizens of the deep woods. You can see how the gypsy moth caterpillars have already been having an impact on them. That's a hooded warbler. Did I not say that?
Yep.
This is a hummingbird clearwing moth. He's feeding, he or she is feeding on milkweed. We have a small milkweed patch behind our cottage, and I am continually impressed by the number of pollinators that are attracted to milkweed when it's in bloom. And this is one of our baby loons. This is at our cottage. They were successful again this year. They had 2 chicks. Then they nested on an artificial nest platform that we had built, not in front of our cottage, but 2 doors down from us. And we're very protective of our loons on South Bay and Honey Harbor. And another shot of Virginia rail. This one's in Hog Bay. This, I didn't even realize it at the time, but Ken had a similar sighting, and it made me go back and look at my photos. This is a bumblebee mimic robber fly. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, does it uses this deception to attack other bees?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, it's not a bumblebee, even though it might look somewhat like it. Oh, there's our loons again, 2 chicks. They're doing well. They survived to adulthood as far as I know. Garter snake in Matchedash again. I just kind of like the little view. Red-headed woodpecker in front of our house. It's nice that they came and visited. I wish they'd stayed, but they didn't. One of my favorite wildflowers, a buttonbush in Tiny Marsh. It's always a little more interesting when you can get an insect doing its thing on top of them. Pollinators like them too. Apparently waterfowl eat the seeds. You don't want to be killed by one of these guys. They're cute little squeaky toy bathtub toys. But you see what they do to swallow these things. They pull all the legs and claws off them and then swallow them whole. Can't be enjoyable for the poor crayfish. And red fox. Actually, I think there's going to be a few photos. This is in our backyard. The fox raised a family basically in our neighbor's backyard, so the house behind us. And they were around frequently, but never usually wanted to pose for photos, but this fellow was quite cooperative. He had his eye on our bird feeders.
How did the dogs like them?
The dog wanted to go play with the fox, but I don't think the fox had the same idea. And there's our loon chick again, starting to lose its downy feathers and get the adult plumage, or the more mature plumage. A green heron that landed in the birch tree in front of our cottage. And I just like the composition. It's not the best photo, but I kind of like hummingbirds. Eastern hognose snake, again at our cottage. No trigger warnings, I hope. And this is the most exotic mushroom I've ever seen. And like I'm not showing you this because of its obvious phallic shape, but just the laciness of it. I've never seen anything like it. And we saw this in the Martin Tract of Simcoe County Forest. And there were a couple of, it's a stinkhorn. It's called, it's netted stinkhorn. I just can't get over how exotic it looks. It's truly remarkable. And this, of course, I got to show this. This is the big rarity that all the birders have recently been chasing. This is a glaucous winged gull, or purported to be a glaucous winged gull. It's awaiting DNA testing to see if it's not some form of hybrid. So hundreds and hundreds of birders have seen this, and all of their sightings are pending approval, waiting, I guess, on this DNA testing to come back. And that's what I got for you. So I'll stop sharing and back over to you, Ken.
Thanks very much, Bob. So 2021 was a good year, right?
It was very good. I had more photos than I could really include in this. That's kind of a drawback of being a prolific photographer. If you want to pick out a few good ones, you've got hundreds of photos to go through.
I'd say that's the secret to, that's the secret to photography. Take thousands of photographs and one or two of them might turn out.
One of them's got to be nice.
Yeah. Anyways, we won't keep up people too much longer. Anybody else got anything to share? I got a couple of things, but anybody else speak up or now forever hold your peace.
I just wanted to comment on Bob's picture of the grebe eating the crayfish, and up at our place, that is exactly what the ringbill gulls do. They pick up the crayfish out of the water, and then they'll land on the rock and thrash them about, pulling all of the legs off, especially the main two, and then down the hatch, leaving all of the legs and the claws behind. So same kind of observation.
Okay, I'm trying to share my screen here. Just a second.
What are you doing?
Everybody see that little chickadee? see him?
Yep.
I'm just going to hide the meeting controls here. Okay, I thought I'd show you some of my worst photographs of 2021. But these are actually my most exciting birds because these were all life birds for me in 2021, birds that I'd never seen before. And the first one was January 8th, and when I was in Ottawa, I had this very cooperative boreal chickadee that was coming to somebody's feeders, and all the birders were trooping out just west of Ottawa to see it. And I know Ron Tozer from Algonquin, he once said, people are always asking me, I think I might have seen a boreal chickadee. And he said, if you think you've seen a boreal chickadee, then you probably haven't seen a boreal chickadee. Because once you've seen a boreal chickadee, you'll know it's a boreal chickadee. They're just not like our black-capped chickadees at all. They're a little smaller and they have a real different look. And in January, I did get another lifer, a gray partridge in Ottawa, but I didn't get a photo. I just saw them flying away in a field. And this wasn't really a lifer because it's an eastern screech owl in Ottawa, but I don't think I'd ever seen a red morph eastern screech owl before. And there was kind of a story here. This was in Shirley's Bay in Ottawa, and I went there one day, and there was a gray morph screech owl in the hole, and quite a few birders were coming to see it because it was fairly accessible. But the morning I went out to see the gray partridge, I thought I'd stop by the hole again, and I looked at the hole, and lo and behold, the owl had changed color. And it was, all of a sudden, it was a red morph owl. So I told a few birders I knew in Ottawa, and everybody in Ottawa got excited because they've only had one or two red morph screech owls in Ottawa ever before. So then thousands of birders all trooped up to see this red morph. And the feeling was that possibly it was a mated pair, that the red morph was there all the time, sitting underneath the gray morph one. I don't think anybody knows for sure. And this was the next lifer I got. It's a Eurasian Widgeon that all the birders trooped down to see down at the Everett gravel pit. Of course, I'm photographing from a fair distance, so it's hard to get a really good shot in focus. And again, they're quite different than our regular American widgeon. And I think Bob and I saw this one together, or at near the same time, a short-eared owl down in Minising. And again, they hunt a lot like a northern harrier. They look a bit like a northern harrier. They've got that owl face. And not the best photos, but, a great sighting. That was in April. In May, I went trooped down like a lot of other birders to see the laughing gull that landed on the docks at Minette's Point in Barrie. And of course, laughing gulls are down in Florida where Maureen and Reed are. They're just a parking lot gull that nobody even notices. But up here, this was one of the few sightings of a laughing gull in Ontario. I think it was the first ever for Simcoe County. And so everybody trooped to see it. And they look a little bit like the Bonaparte gull you see here sitting beside it, but they're larger and darker back. And this one was spotted by Anthony Ganesk out at Lawson Line. Everybody got a good look at a ruff, a shorebird that has a nice ruff around its neck. And this was a male in almost full breeding plumage, so a nice sighting for our area. Out near Ottawa, near Almont, these guys aren't that uncommon, but I just never managed to lock onto one before. It's a clay-colored sparrow, and that was a lifer for me. And then recently, back in September, there was kind of an invasion of Hudsonian godwits down at the Beaton sod farms. Now, Hudsonian godwits usually migrate further west of us when they migrate south, but for some reason, this September, they all started migrating through southern Ontario, and lots of people saw them. Unfortunately, when I saw them, my good camera was in the shop for repair, so this was the best photo I could get. And another terrible photo of a great bird that I saw. This was out at Lawson Line. Again, first spotted by Anthony Ganesk. And not too many, this is a very secretive sparrow, so not too many people got to see it. I did get a better view of the bird than I got a picture, but it's a beautiful little sparrow called the Nelson Sparrow. That was at the end of September. And this end of November out in Ottawa, there's a Say's Phoebe, which is kind of the western version of our eastern Phoebe. And this guy was hanging out late into September near a big garbage dump in Ottawa. So all the birds were flocking out to the garbage dump to see this little bird. And the glaucous winged gull. This was actually a lifer for me because I think I'd seen them about 15, 20 years ago out in BC where they're very common. But I barely remember that sighting, so I included it here. And my last lifer for the year was this lesser black-backed gull. He's the gull on the right there. And you can see in comparison to the herring gulls, he's a little smaller and he's got a darker back. And again, I don't think this was, well, I put it down as a lifer. I probably had seen some of them immatures before, but never with a really sure identification, whereas this guy was a very clear, mature adult black-backed gull.
Where was he?
That was in Mpfn Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think we've had them in our Christmas bird count before.
Lesser black-backed, yeah, in down in Barrie. They're not that uncommon, but sometimes they're hard to tell apart from the greater blackbacks or the herring gulls. And just the one last thing to share, Mary Rajapaksi wanted to share some of her stories of the bald when she's called to see the bald eagles. This is Mary here. Can everybody see her there?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mary with her bindi on her forehead. And Mary has a story about the day we had the big power failure. She was stuck with no telephone, no power at home, but she heard the eagle call her name, and she had to get out and go look for bald eagles. And she found one on Champlain Road. Then she headed out to Tiny Marsh, and she bumped into the Ganaraska hikers there. They were surprised to see her because she didn't. But they said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, I'm here because I heard the eagle call my name." And sure enough, there was the eagle up on the what we call the eagle tree in Tiny Marsh. Sometimes you see 2 eagles or even 3 eagles on that one particular tree. And Mary is kind of a special. I think she considers the eagle to be her spirit animal. So she always gets a thrill out of seeing them. And on her way home, it was late in the evening, but she did see the eagle back on Champlain Road again. So that was Mary's contribution to our little Christmas party. And I think I'll just stop sharing for a second and just say goodbye to everybody. But I have one more thing to show you before we all go. If anybody's still here, yeah, there's a few people still here. Susan, did you want to say goodbye or Merry Christmas or anything?
Goodbye and Merry Christmas. And everything. Happy holidays. Let's hope we can get together.
I'm gonna
next year.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's really hope so. Well, I should tell the people that, again, we're going to stay on Zoom for until at least March or April. I have a speaker booked for January. It's a lady who's going to speak to us all about trumpeter swans. And this is a lady, I don't have her name in front of me right now, but she's very involved with the trumpeter swans where they winter down on Lake Ontario. And she has a lot of good information of where some of our swans are when we don't have them up here. But I thought I'd finish with a little song that I put together with my brother, my older brother, Tom. And this song has been going a little bit viral. Tom wrote a poem called A COVID Christmas, which is kind of a parody of The Night Before Christmas. And he sent it to the family, and I decided to put it to music, which I'll play. But it's been popping up in a lot of people's news feeds. Today it just got put on the Ottawa Citizen website. And I think he wrote it before things got really serious, and it has kind of a light approach to everything. But hopefully you enjoy it. Let's see if I can find it here.
Hey, Ken, just before you put it up, I just want to say how excited I am for you at all of your life birds this year. That's it's been a long time since I've had that many life birds, so good for you to get that. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's always fun, and it gets harder and harder every year to add a few more.
That's for sure.
Do our
That's
best.
for sure.
Yep.
So let me just find this. Give me a second. Okay, I'm sharing this from the Ottawa Citizen website, so let's see if this will work. Can you see me there with my Santa hat on?
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll play the song. First of all, I'll get rid of the meeting controls. Oh, I gotta unmute it.
'Twas the night before Christmas, but COVID was here. So we all had to be extra careful this year. Our masks were all hung by the chimney with care, in case Santa forgot his and needed a spare. With COVID we couldn't leave cookies or cake, so we left Santa hand sanitizer to take. The children were sleeping, the brave little tots. The ones over 5 had just had their first shots. And Mum in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled in for a long winter's nap. But we tossed and we turned all night in our beds as visions of variants danced in our heads. Gamma and Delta and now Omicron, these COVID mutations just go on and on. I thought to myself, if this doesn't get better, I'll soon be familiar with every Greek letter. Then just as I started to drift off and doze, a clatter of noise from the front lawn arose. I leapt from my bed and ran straight down the stair. I opened the door and an old gent stood there. His N95 made him look pretty weird, but I knew who he was by his red suit and beard. I kept 6 feet away, but blurted out quick, "What are you doing here?" "Jolly St. Nick." I said, "Where's your presents, your reindeer and sleigh? Don't you know that tomorrow will be Christmas Day?" And Santa stood there looking sad in the snow, and he started to tell me a long tale of woe. He said he'd been stuck at the North Pole alone. All his white-collar elves had been working from home. And most of the others said, "Santa, don't hire us. We can live on the syrup now, thanks to the virus." Those left in the toy shop had little to do. With supply chain disruptions, they could make nothing new. And as for the reindeer, they'd all gone away. None of them left to pull on his sleigh. He said Dasher and Dancer were in quarantine. Prancer and Vixen refused the vaccine. Comet and Cupid were in ICU. So were Donner and Blitzen. They might not pull through. And Rudolph's career can't be resurrected. With his shiny red nose, they all think he's infected. When even with his old sleigh, Santa couldn't get far. Every border to cross needs a new PCR. Santa sighed as he told me how nice it would be if children could once again sit on his knee. He couldn't care less if they're naughty or nice, but they'd have to show proof that they'd had their shot twice. Then the old twinkle returned to his eyes, and he said that he brought me a Christmas surprise. When I unwrapped the box and opened it wide, starlight and rainbows streamed up from inside. Some letters whirled around and flew up to the sky, and they spelled out a word that was 40 feet high. There first was an H, then an O, then a P, then I saw it spelled hope when he added the E. Christmas magic, said Santa as he smiled through his beard. Then suddenly all of the reindeer appeared. He jumped into his sleigh and he waved me goodbye. Then he soared o'er the rooftops and into the sky. I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Get your vaccines, my friend, Merry Christmas, good night." Then I went back to bed and a sweet Christmas dream of a world where we finished with COVID-19.
Very, very
Wow.
clever. Well done, Ken and Tom.
Well done.
My goodness.
We all need to laugh at some point, right?
That's very good.
Best medicine.
Your rhyming is impeccable.
Oh, the poem was my brother's. I just did the music.
Yep.
Wow.
Here we go. I'm back.
It's like Rogers and Hart.
Is it on YouTube? You'll probably get.
It is.
You'll
I
probably
looked it
become
up
a
already.
gazillionaire.
Yeah,
Is it?
and like I say, it's been shared on the Ottawa Citizen website, so people will see it there. And
It's on YouTube.
and people are sharing it. You know, Tom says he's had friends in California say that all of a sudden this showed up on their social media, and it's getting around.
You're going to be as famous as your bear in the tree.
But hopefully, yeah, I do have my bear in the tree photos here, but I don't think we need to see them. Everybody's seen those.
No, but I mean, you're going to be world famous. You're going to be more famous than your new birds.
Well, the only thing I told my brother though when we wrote this song, we both hope that it doesn't become a Christmas classic that gets played every year. We hope this is 1 year and done. You know, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to spread as quickly as Omicron is spreading.
It's gone viral, but in a good way. That's what we're saying.
We can live in hope. We can live in hope.
Live in hope, yeah. Okay, well, good night, everybody. I'm going to release you and send you
Happy
back.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
Nice to see everybody. Merry Christmas.
Healthy New Year.
Bye.
Thanks, Ken.
Good night, everyone.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Take care.